Alright, this is the full guide to eating to heal autoimmune disease so you can stop the constant fatigue, pain, and itching. I'm going to tell you exactly what to eat and what not to eat if you want to completely reverse your condition. And yes, it is completely possible to reverse autoimmune diseases. I'm living proof. See, about 3 years ago, I had such bad rheumatoid arthritis, which is like this condition where your joints swell up and it can even make them disfigured. Like this collarbone right here is bigger than this one. And it's super painful. Sorry, super painful. And I would just lay in bed at any tiny movement would just create stabbing pain all across my body. Like I could barely sleep or get out of bed just because of the pain. And now I can easily do sprints and go running. So that's why you need to listen to me and focus and watch until the end of this video. If you can't even focus long enough to watch a 6-minute video, there's no way you'll be able to heal your autoimmune disease. So, to understand how to heal autoimmune disease, there are two fundamental concepts you need to understand. The first concept is that if you have autoimmune disease, there is a very high chance you have something called intestinal hyperpermeability, or better known as leaky gut. This is my very poorly drawn intestine right here. So basically, I'm not going to go into too much detail because there's so many people talking about leaky gut, but basically what happens is bacteria or some type of allergen or some type of toxin enters your gut, and that toxin comes over here and it hits your gut and rips a hole in it. And so now you have a hole in your gut, and that allows other bacteria and food particles to enter into your body, and that causes a bunch of inflammation all across your system. And this is very common for all types of autoimmune diseases people to have, like psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, probably Crohn's as well. That's why you need to heal your gut. The second concept is that modern life, like staying inside all the time, eating grains and seed oils and all this modern garbage, is what caused you to have autoimmune diseases. If humans were still out in the wild living like animals, autoimmune diseases would basically not be heard of. You simply would not have this disease, and it would just be super, super uncommon. It's not natural to have any type of autoimmune disease. So, to reverse this, the first thing we need to do is actually start eating like a human. If you actually want to heal, it is fundamental that you stop eating this modern toxic garbage food and just eat like humans actually evolved to eat. This means no grains, no beans, no processed foods, literally just fruit, vegetables, and meat, especially red meat. And for those of you who still think that red meat is unhealthy, just know that we basically only think that because of rigged studies by seed oil companies and stuff like that that tried to get people to stop eating saturated fat so they could sell more seed oils. So you also want to be eating as naturally as possible. This means getting your produce from the farmer's market or getting meat from local farmers because then they won't have inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-6s are toxic. These are also known as like seed oils. Omega-6s are toxic, omega-3s are good. So the type of omega oil that animals have in them is actually defined by the type of food they eat, not by the animal itself. Like a lot of people take fish oil because it's omega-3, but fish oil isn't inherently omega-3. Fish oil is only omega-3 because it's a collection of the oil from eating seaweed. If fish eat grains, they're going to get omega 6s. Same with cows. If cows eat grass, they get omega 3. If cows eat grains, they get omega 6. And if going to the farmer's market, getting from local farmers and all that isn't possible, at least get organic meat and produce. The pesticides they put on inorganic crops leads to low testosterone, autoimmune disease, and it destroys your gut microbiome. And having a good gut microbiome is fundamental if you want to heal leaky gut because gut bacteria actually helps your body to reconstruct its gut lining. And then you also definitely want to have organic meat and dairy, stuff like that, because they spray meat and dairy with a ton of antimicrobials, uh, and antibacterial and stuff like that, which will wipe out your gut health as well. So, alongside this point is that you also want to avoid anti-nutrients like oxalates, lectins, and phytates. So, anti-nutrients are stuff that a lot of vegetables, seeds, nuts, and beans have, and they're basically natural pesticides to keep bugs from eating them so that they can spread their seeds. But the problem is that they're also toxic for humans and can cause tons of gut damage, tons of inflammation, and also steal nutrients like calcium from you. So these are the same things that make gluten so bad. Gluten is just one type of anti-nutrient and just happens to be especially powerful. So basically just avoid any type of seed. That means grains because grains are a seed, beans because beans are a seed. Anything that's a seed, don't eat it unless you've actually researched if it has anti-nutrients, because there are some seeds that don't have anti-nutrients like flax seeds. Um, but you also want to avoid, alongside seeds, you want to avoid three leafy greens. You want to avoid beet greens, Swiss chard, and spinach. Those are the main anti-nutrient leafy greens. If you do that, then you're good and you'll be fine. There is one caveat to this though. Nutrition is more important than avoiding anti-nutrients. So if you need more of a certain nutrient from a high anti-nutrient food, then just go for it. Just do what you can to reduce anti-nutrients because there's a lot of things you can do. You can like sprout them or pressure cook them. All this helps to reduce the amount of anti-nutrients. Also fermenting, although I wouldn't recommend that for people with autoimmune diseases because fermented foods also have very high amounts of histamine. So this brings us to the next step, which is to give your gut a break. Your body may be reacting to foods you eat every single day, and if you never take a break from these foods, then you'll never realize that it was them causing them in the first place. Like a perfect example of this is that there was this one girl who was given blueberries every day, and she developed rheumatoid arthritis. But it turned out that as soon as the blueberries were taken out of her diet, she instantly healed and was fine after that. So you need to be switching up your diet. You don't want to be eating the same food every day if it's possible. I know that a lot of people with autoimmune diseases have food allergies because of the leaky gut leading to allergies. So just be aware of that. You also want to be doing a weekly 24 to 36-hour fast. There are multiple studies showing massive reductions or even complete reversal of rheumatoid arthritis just from a fasting. And it's the same story for other autoimmune diseases like psoriasis and celiac disease, because fasting lets your gut lining heal. It's like if you were a plumber, you would need to turn off the water if you want to fix a pipe. And fasting is basically just that. You need to stop stuffing yourself with food if you want your body to actually be able to heal its intestine. Also, fasting helps your body heal in other ways, like making your body more efficient in cleaning out toxins from at a cellular level through something called autophagy. And it also boosts something called growth hormone by 1,000%, which helps you look young for much longer and lose weight. And if you're still like below 20, it'll help you to grow taller. So I would definitely start doing a 24 to 36-hour fast. So like not eating until 12 o'clock and then not eating again until 12 o'clock the next day. So the next thing you need to do is to fill in your nutritional gaps. A ton of people with autoimmune conditions have super restricted diets. That's why you should use this app called Chronometer to track nutrients from the foods you're eating. Like basically, you just type in whatever foods you eat all the time, and it will show you a chart of nutrients you're missing in your diet, and it'll show you all your nutrients. So you're gonna take those nutrients that you aren't getting enough in, and you're going to ask ChatGPT which foods have high levels of that. And I'm specifically saying ChatGPT because a lot of nutrition lists online are just lies. Like for example, they'll say an orange is a high calcium fruit, even though it only gives like 50 milligrams, which is like 5% of daily intake. So even though it's actually low calcium, they put it on their website because it's high calcium for a fruit. I really want to stress this point though to check your nutrient gaps in your diet because with my health crisis, I took out basically every food that was high calcium and it has basically depleted my levels, and so now I need to reverse it by supplementing. That's why you need to subscribe to the channel so you don't make these same mistakes I did and so that you can heal so much faster than me. It took me 2.5 years to heal, but I could have easily cut it down to like 6 months at least if I had the information I give you on this channel now. And that brings us to the next point, which is to ignore sensitivity tests. Sensitivity tests are super inaccurate, and there's so many different sensitivity types that you're going to show up as sensitive to nearly every food on some test. I know you're trying to follow like 4 different sensitivity tests at once, but let me tell you, these tests are basically worthless. I know because I've done this whole thing before, and I only had 4 main foods left. I literally just lived off of beef, rice, coconut and olive oil for 2 whole years, but this leads to a whole bunch of deficiencies, and these sensitivities are basically just lies. Showing up as something as sensitive on a test has barely any bearing on whether you're actually sensitive in reality. And what's worse is that it can make you actually start relying more on foods that you're actually sensitive to. So instead, what I would do and what I wish I had done is just eat what you feel like eating as long as it's like a human food, not this modern garbage, when you feel like eating it. And don't even consider that you could react to it. And I specifically said to do it like this because when you're in this autoimmune state and you get into your head that you're trying a new food, you automatically put your body on edge and it sets your body to react even if you're not naturally sensitive to it. Like your thoughts are basically commanding your body to react. And so instead, just try new foods when you want to eat them to trick yourself and just say to yourself in your head, like, yeah, I can eat this food. I've always been able to eat it. And that just makes your body relax so that it's actually open to trying the new food. So, and then you also want to, after you eat the food, to not pay attention to or think about if you actually feel different because thinking about it actually makes you react as well. And if you're truly sensitive, you will know if you reacted because it's going to be obvious. So you just want to not think about it at all. Just relax and let your body just feel it if it actually sensitive. So follow these steps, getting rid of processed foods, anti-nutrients, starting fasting, and just pay attention to how you feel instead of listening to these nonsense sensitivity tests, and you'll help heal your leaky gut, you'll help heal your autoimmune disease, and you'll feel happier because gut health is directly tied to mood. If you want more advice from someone who has actually healed from the exact same problems you have, subscribe to the channel. We're going for 1,000 subscribers, and if you reset your gut, you're going to heal your autoimmune disease and actually take action now. Throw away all your American seed oil garbage and click this video right now for more.